Two 18-year-olds who started 2026 as doubles partners in Auckland are about to face each other in the first round of Roland Garros, and one of them held match point against the reigning French Open champion just 11 days ago. That player is Iva Jovic. Her opponent is Alex Eala, and the draw gods have decided that only one of them gets to stay in Paris past Sunday. Let me tell you why this matchup is far stranger than it looks on paper, and why neither player is where you might expect her to be heading into the biggest clay court tournament on earth. Rewind to January. Auckland. First week of the season. Eala and Jovic entered doubles together. They beat Alina Svitolina and Venus Williams in a match that saw them save 7 set points before running away with a 7-6, 6-1 victory. They were communicating between points like old friends. They were celebrating each other's shots. The chemistry was real. Now, for months later, they walk onto Philippe Chatrier on opposite sides of the net. That is professional tennis. You share a locker room. You share a practice court. You share victories. And then you try to destroy each other when the tournament demands it. So, who has the edge? Let me build both cases, because the answer is more complicated than seeding suggests. Iva Jovic is the 17th seed. She sits at world number 17 on the live rankings. She turned 18 last December, and her 2026 has been nothing short of extraordinary for someone still a teenager. The Australian Open quarter-final remains the headline, beating Jasmine Paolini, demolishing Yulia Putintseva 6-0, 6-1 in under an hour, but the trajectory since then tells a more complete story. She reached the third round in Dubai. She reached the third round in Miami. She beat Anna Kalinskaya and Magda Linette on the Madrid clay before Leylah Fernandez caught her in 3 sets. Then came Rome, where she held a match point against Coco Gauff in the round of 16 before the defending French Open champion clawed back from a set and a breakdown. That Rome match deserves closer inspection. Jovic led 7-5, 5-3. She was serving for the match. Gauff was misfiring forehands, struggling with her movement in the wind, looking beaten. And then Jovic missed a forehand on match point tight into the net, and the momentum transferred so completely that Gauff won 11 of the next 14 games. What does that tell us? It tells us that Jovic can play at the very highest level for extended stretches. It also tells us she has not yet learned how to finish when the prize is visible. That is not a criticism. That is an observation about where she is in her development. Finishing tight matches against top 5 players is something most players learn by losing them first. Jovic is in the learning phase. Her game on clay has evolved significantly from even 12 months ago. She told Roland Garros media this week that a couple of years ago she had never played on clay at all and did not know how to slide. Her off-season was built around clay court training blocks, and it shows. Her movement in Rome was markedly better than anything she demonstrated on the surface last year. Her ball striking remains her calling card, clean, flat, powerful from both wings, and the altitude in Madrid helped her weaponize that flatness in ways that sea-level clay would not. Paris sits at low altitude, though. The ball will sit up less. The court will grip more. The rallies will elongate. This matters. Alex Eala comes in unseeded at world number 38. She peaked at 29 in mid-March after a stunning run through Indian Wells and Miami, where she reached the 4th round and beat Yelena Ostapenko along the way before Karolina Muchova outclassed her 6-love, 6-2. That Miami demolition was a humbling reset. It exposed what happens when IGA's patterns are read by a player with the hands and variety to neutralize her counterpunching. IGA's clay court season has been a mixed bag. First round loss in Stuttgart to Leylah Fernandez. Second round loss in Madrid. Then came Rome, where something shifted. She beat Magdalena Frech in the first round and then recorded what many considered her best ever clay result, a straight sets win over Wang Xinyu in the round of 64. A player who had beaten her in straight sets just weeks earlier in Madrid. That was a genuine breakthrough on the surface. She was constructing points differently, accepting longer rallies, varying height and spin more than she typically does. Then Elena Rybakina, the world number 2, ended it in the third round with a 4-6, 3-6 lesson. Last week in Strasbourg, IGA lost to qualifier Alexandra Olyanovskaya in 3 sets. She was broken 7 times. She blew a 3-2 lead in the decider. On its face, this is a bad sign heading into Paris. But there is another way to read it. Strasbourg gave IGA a full week of preparation at the Rafa Nadal Academy before Roland Garros. She trained on clay every day since that loss. Whether the extra preparation outweighs the lost match confidence is something we will learn Sunday afternoon. Now let me talk about the stylistic collision, because this is where it gets interesting for the tactical observers. IGA is left-handed. She is fundamentally a counterpuncher. Someone who uses her opponent's pace and redirects it with angles that the lefty swing path makes naturally available. Her backhand is flat. Her forehand carries modest topspin relative to true clay court specialists. Her best tennis happens when she is inside the baseline, taking the ball early, disrupting timing. On clay, that style requires extraordinary footwork because the surface punishes late positioning. When IGA is moving well, she looks like she belongs anywhere. When she is not, the ball gets away from her. She sits too deep and her flat shots find the net. Jovic is right-handed, aggressive, and strikes the ball with a violence that belies her age. Her forehand is her primary weapon, fast, clean, with enough depth to push opponents behind the baseline. Her backhand is two-handed and equally capable of generating power on the run. She is at her best when dictating from the center of the court, choosing sides, applying pressure with depth before pulling the trigger wide. On clay, her biggest adjustment has been learning to construct the point before unleashing the finish. In Madrid, she was doing this well. In Rome, she was doing it even better for 2.5 sets against Goff. She was playing some of the most composed tennis of her young career. Here is the tactical puzzle for each player. IGA needs Jovic to overheat. She needs to absorb pace, keep the ball in play, and wait for Jovic's natural aggression to tip into error. The Parisian clay helps here. It is slow, it grips the ball, it extends rallies. Every extra shot IGA forces Jovic to play is a shot that might find the net or sail long. IGA's left-handed serve will move differently for Jovic than what she sees from most opponents, particularly the wide serve into the ad court that curls away from a right-hander's backhand. If IGA can locate that serve consistently, she will create short balls to attack. Jovic needs to take time away from IGA. She needs to hit through her. If Jovic allows rallies to extend past 8 or shots, she is playing Eala's game. The key for Jovic is depth, keeping the ball deep enough that Eala cannot step inside the baseline and redirect. If Jovic pushes Eala behind the service line, Eala's flat ground strokes lose their bite and become defensive. Jovic also has the advantage on serve. Not that her serve is a massive weapon by tour standards, but it is more consistent and more punishing than Eala's. In a tight set, free points on serve matter enormously. The head-to-head between them is blank. They have never played a competitive singles match against each other. The doubles partnership in Auckland gives them some familiarity, but playing alongside someone and playing against them are entirely different activities. What they do share is context. They share a generation. They share a calendar. They share the pressure of representing something larger than themselves. Jovic for a Serbian-American community that sees echoes of Djokovic in her trajectory. Eala for an entire nation of 115 million people that has never produced a tennis player of this caliber. Last year at Roland Garros, both players were present and both went home early. Jovic, then on a wild card, beat Renata Zarazua in the first round before Elena Rybakina dismissed her in straight sets. Eala made her Grand Slam main draw debut and lost in 3 sets to Emiliana Arango, 6-0, 2-6, 3-6, a match where she was bageled in the opener and couldn't recover the psychological damage. Both players left Paris last year with unfinished business. 1 year later, both are ranked higher, both have better results on clay, and both carry the scar tissue of knowing what it feels like to lose here. There is a psychological dimension worth discussing. Jovic comes in having recently held match point against Goff. That can go one of two ways mentally. It can produce a feeling of proximity to greatness. She was 1 point from beating the defending champion, or it can produce a lingering sense of having let something slip away. The best evidence suggests Jovic is handling it well. She showed no signs of mental collapse in Strasbourg, where she beat Magdalena before losing to Emma Navarro in the second round. That Navarro loss was competitive and clean. No meltdown. No hangover. Iga's psychological state is harder to read. The Strasbourg loss was messy. 7 breaks of serve. A lead surrendered in the third set against a qualifier. That is the sort of match that can knock out a player's confidence heading into a major. But Iga has shown throughout 2026 that she rebounds from bad losses with good performances. After the Muchova demolition in Miami, she came back with a solid run in Charleston. After the Madrid loss, she produced her best clay result ever in Rome. The pattern suggests resilience rather than fragility. My read on this match is that conditions favor a competitive three-setter. The slow Parisian clay keeps Iga in rallies that faster surfaces might not. The lack of altitude means Jovic's power is slightly muted compared to Madrid. But Jovic's overall level in 2026, the consistency of her results, the quality of opponents she has challenged, gives her a clear edge on paper. She is ranked 17 for a reason. She has beaten a top 10 player at a Grand Slam this year. She has made a Grand Slam quarterfinal. Those are credentials Iga has not yet matched. The one variable that could tip this is the left-hand factor. Not all players adjust well to southpaw patterns, and Jovic has limited experience playing left-handers at this level. Iga's serve spins into different zones. Her forehand pulls wide to different angles, and the rally patterns are reversed in ways that can unsettle a rhythm-based player. If Iga can exploit that unfamiliarity in the early games, she might build a lead while Jovic is still calibrating. If Jovic wins this match, she likely faces Emma Navarro in the second round, and the draw opens toward a potential third-round meeting with Coco Gauff, which would mean a rematch of that Rome epic, this time with even higher stakes. For Iga, a win would be the biggest of her Roland Garros career, and would put her in position to build a genuine run at a venue where she has never won a match. Now, for those of you wondering how to follow this match and the rest of Roland Garros, here is what you need to know. In the United States, Turner Sports carries the full tournament. TNT provides the primary television broadcast starting at 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time each day during the first week, with live matches running through the afternoon. True TV carries additional court coverage and the Rally at Roland Garros studio show. HBO Max, now simply Max, streams every single match from every court, which is your best option if you want to follow Iga versus Jovic specifically, since a first-round match between a 17th seed and an unseeded player may not land immediately on the main TNT broadcast. Bleacher Report's YouTube channel will also carry select live matches for the first time this year. In the United Kingdom, TNT Sports and Discovery Plus carry the full tournament. In Australia, the coverage runs on Channel 9 and Stan Sport. In the Philippines, where Iga's matches draw enormous viewership, the tournament is available through Premier Sports on cable television and through streaming platforms carrying the international feed. In Canada, TSN and RDS have broadcasting rights. In Europe broadly, Eurosport remains the primary home. For the complete broadcaster list specific to your country, the official RolandGarros.com website maintains an updated directory. The match is scheduled for the first round, which runs Sunday, May 24 through Monday, May 26 th. The exact day and court assignment will be announced in the order of play released the evening before. Given Jovic seeding, this match could land on one of the larger show courts, Court Suzanne Lenglen or Court Simone Matthew, particularly given the compelling storyline of two young players with large fan bases meeting in a first-round draw that nobody expected. Keep your eye on the conditions that day. If it rains and May in Paris offers no guarantees, the match could shift under the Philippe Chatrier roof, where the ball flies slightly faster and the clay dries more quickly. That would tilt conditions marginally toward Jovic's power game. If it stays outdoor under natural light on one of the annex courts, The heavy Parisian air and soft clay favor patience. Favor IGA. Whatever happens, this is the kind of first-round matchup that generates a highlight reel regardless of the result. Two young players, both improving, both carrying narratives that extend far beyond a single tennis match, meeting at a grand slam that neither has conquered. The winner walks away with confidence she can carry deep into the second week. The loser walks away with data, painful, specific, useful data about what still needs work. In professional tennis, both outcomes have value, but only one of them comes with a second-round match in Paris.